We are live from Drift Beach, and by the time this goes out and airs, we are actually going to be at our Allsop and Allsop end of year award. You moved here when you're 21. I think at that age, it's probably the hardest thing anyone at that age could ever do. How do you compare a men's prison to the Allsop and Allsop office? It's just full of men.
I worked in a men's prison. No, this is so much harder.
Because it's sacrifice, right? So what's the hardest part for you all?
Is it like core events?
What parents say to you when you move, or even since you've been here now?
I think they can see what it has to offer for us.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Where's the limit in terms of what you can earn in this job?
I think there is a limit.
And what's the highlight?
Changing my life, to be honest with you.
I mean, yeah, there has been mistakes along the way, but I think if you don't learn from your mistakes, then you don't become who you are today.
One thing you changed aside from doing it earlier.
My tattoos.
But the worst
Tribal
tattoo
wars
on
is
the way.
great.
Right, 10 years in the job. You must have
You
something
know what?
funny.
I'm trying to really think. I remember when I was in rentals once, I think I was doing in the Greens. I didn't show the pool, obviously, because I thought it was jumping.
Taking care of business. We are live from Drift Beach, and by the time this goes out and airs, we are actually going to be at our Allsop and Allsop end of year awards. It's Allsop Dreams and Gold the theme this year, and I thought it'd be a really good opportunity as this goes out to speak to 6 absolutely fantastic people, fantastic agents at our business, to talk about some of their success stories, some of their challenges they've had, and all about really what this year looks like in 2025 from. So guys, welcome to Taking Care of Business.
Cheers, Bob.
No nervous. We'll do some brief introductions. We'll just go around the room very quickly. Russ?
Introduction, Russ, working Emirates Living.
Yeah.
Been at Allsop and Allsop for 6 years now. Yeah.
How old are you? What's your start time?
I am 38 and spicy.
Lovely.
Georgia, I've been here since October now. I do leasings in the marina. I'm 25 and I'm a Capricorn.
This guy needs no introduction here.
What?
This guy needs no introduction.
Ryan, 10 years, Virgo, private office now, done 9 years working in the marina.
I'm Emma. I've been here about a year now. I work in sales in Dubai Hills, and I'm an Aquarius.
I'm Jack. Been here 8 years now. Selling Emirates Living, same as Russ. My star sign, I have no idea. I'm born in October, so is that Libra?
I know you like Halloween,
Yeah,
apparently.
that's it, like Halloween. Yeah, that's it.
I'm Sachin. I've been in the business for 14 months. I specialise in sales in Jumeirah Park, and I'm also in the Emirates Living team with Russ and Jack. Gemini, June.
So, aside from this sounding like Alcoholics Anonymous, always going around the room, tell us a little bit about your journey, Sachin. So you've been with us for 14 months.
Yeah.
So what does the first 12 months for anyone in real estate look like? Obviously, we met you one of the more recent hires with Georgia. What does it look like? Because you see all these programs these days, Selling Sunset, you see, the one with Ryan Sahan.
Yeah.
Very much glorifies real
Yeah.
estate. Is it like that?
Yeah, I think so. It can't be further from the truth, to be honest. I think like your first 12 months is super important to just like get stuck in, don't get distracted. But also like just try and like bounce off your team because they've got more experience. Like when I'm in the Emirates Living team and I'm sitting with Jack or Russ or any of the other lads, just trying to feed off what they're doing, trying to take tidbits of, some of their successes and just never giving up, to be honest. Don't compare yourself to another agent because you're just going to get down and down.
What's the biggest highlight, the biggest challenge you've had in your first 14 months of the business?
Biggest highlight, I would say, I broke the record in the Springs for a 3E property. That was quite cool.
Record meaning the highest price.
Yeah, the highest price selling for a 3E. So that was quite cool. And the biggest challenge, I think, is just probably that trying to crack a new area in terms of Jumeirah Park. I was the only agent doing it. So just trying to get my feet embedded into that community and like learning about it. I think that took a lot of time and that was quite challenging.
Ryan, you are considered a veteran.
Yeah, I am, yeah.
A
10
veteran.
years.
You're
Testimonial next week.
testimonial next week. 10 years of real estate. Not many last that long.
No.
You've probably seen many hundreds, if not probably thousands, come and go and not make it.
Yeah.
You moved here when you're 21. I think at that age, it's probably the hardest thing anyone at that age could ever do because they're leaving mum, dad, routine, friends, family. What was it actually like moving to a new country and a new job at that stage in your life?
You know what? The country was hard, but I didn't know anyone, didn't know a single person in Dubai. And I think if you move over here now, you're probably more than likely going to know 3, 4, 5 people. So obviously, like, the temptations are there. People are going out for a pint and so on, so on. So it wasn't easy, but it was easier for me. I didn't have a circle, I didn't have friends. I played a bit of football, but I didn't have temptations to go out on the ale every weekend and stuff like that. So I just got my head down. Got my head down for a good year, and everyone who comes over, they sit down and they ask you, like, what you need to do. It is just pure sacrifice. And I'm not just saying, like, I've probably done like 2 or 3 nights out in a full calendar year that year, 2015, when I first got here. So I just resisted all temptations and then put me in good stead for the next 9 years.
Georgia, you had a really different background before moving here.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about what you're doing back home and why you decided to leave home for here.
Yeah, so I was a nurse, and I actually worked in a men's prison. I was there for nearly 3 years. It was crazy, but I've spent like a lot of time visiting Dubai on holiday. I've got friends and things out here. Always sort of knew it was somewhere that I wanted to be. But yeah, it took me a while to throw some balls and make the move. And I thought if I was, taking the leap, moving away from family and things, then why not try something different? And yeah, ended up in here I am and all.
How do you compare a men's prison to the All Southern All office? It's just full of men.
Honestly, I remember like on my first day and like when we met everyone and I met Mark and he was like, this job is like the hardest job like you'll ever do. And I was like, no way. Like I worked in a men's prison. No, this is so much harder. Like real estate is so much harder than what I did back home. And I thought I had the hardest job ever. Like mentally, just like keeping going with it and things like that. It's tough.
Yeah, and you're 4 or 5 months into your job now?
Yeah, just going into my 5th month.
Yeah. Any particular successes you've had so far that you think you're proud of?
So I closed a few deals. Yep. Last week so I've done split deals. The first one that I did last week was my tenant, my landlord, and yeah, I was really pleased with that.
Amazing, well done. Emma, you're a bit famous, aren't you? A little bit famous. Tell us a little bit about your background. You're now in real estate. You've been with us for just a bit over a year, and you missed the first All Southern All Awards last year, and this year's going to be your first experience. And I'd like to apologise by advance for some of the behaviours on the evening. So tell us about what you did before you joined our business.
So I was a professional ballet dancer before I got here. So I worked with Birmingham Ballet and also with different companies throughout Europe. I've danced from the age of 3, and then at 11 I trained vocationally at like a ballet boarding school, a bit like Billy Elliot.
Yeah.
And then from there graduated and worked with different companies over Europe.
So why jump from ballet, which is, by the way, like an incredible discipline, into real estate? What's big difference, right?
Yeah, very. So I think I got to a point where I was like, in ballet, I was going to have to retire early anyway, like before 40. And I thought, do you know what? It'll be the only opportunity that I get to do something completely different and kind of like make a new start in my life again. So I decided to come here and give real estate a try.
Okay. How have you found it so far?
I love it and I hate it.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some real highs and then there's some real lows. So yeah, it's been challenging, but I am enjoying it.
I describe it to many people, to people joining with champagne or razor blades. There is literally no in between whatsoever. The highs are high, the lows are very, very low. I mean, Ryan can vouch for the highs and the lows. There's lots of big highs, big lows. But I think some of the best people I've worked with, yourself included, Ryan, that try not to get too carried away with your wins and your losses.
No, definitely not. I think it's more about failure than I've never really been one to celebrate the wins. More just been like embarrassed the failure. So it's not really like you sit there and you go, okay, just bored and not the next one. So you just move on from it. If something deals falls through, just get on with it the next day. I think it was your dad actually told me that about 10 years ago. Said you just need to make sure the next day completely forget about it. If you dwell on it, you're finished.
Hard to do, right, Jack, though. So Jack's been with us 8 years now.
8 years, yeah.
I'm fascinated from an ex-painter and decorator to, in my opinion, probably the highest selling Springs agent in all of the Springs and surrounding areas. You've done incredible things. So proud. Tell us a little bit about the switch from what you're doing previously to also again, aside from painting villas, there's no similarities.
Well, I include that sometimes in my services. I paint some of the houses as well. But no, I was working for my dad's business back at home. So all I've really ever known is hard work. So I used to come here on holiday, see your brother Lewis multiple times. Probably came in 5 times before I actually took the job. He always said to me, "I think you'd be really good at the job." So one time went back, I remember it was in February, went back on the building site, 5 a.m. in the morning, 3 jumpers on, taking a piss in a paint tin. And I thought to myself, why not I just do it? And never looked back really. Took the jump and I thought I just believed in the way I work, hard work. I didn't really have any sales experience, but I just knew the drive and the hunger I had to better myself. So yeah, that's where I.
Do you think being a natural salesperson, and this is to all of you really, being a natural salesperson or having sales experience is really vitally important when you start the job?
No.
I don't think so.
Likability.
Yeah.
Ability.
And getting on with people.
How can someone like you if you're not a likable person?
Struggling there.
Sell yourself to them. But no, I always remember my mum used to say to me when I used to ask for things, she'd say no, and I'd go on in her ear and she'd say to me, "You'd be a great salesman," and that was from the early age. And it's I don't know, maybe it's like a persuasion thing. I don't know how it falls in line with the job, but yeah, I think for me it was definitely just to do with my work rate really on where I am. Like I say, I'm not really a salesman, but it all just comes into one together with the work rate, I think so.
Russell, you were, my notes said, an ex-gym attendant, and you've been in Dubai for 20 years.
Yeah.
Wow, that is like veteran territory.
Where's the muscles gone, Russ?
Yeah, don't judge me. It was a long time ago.
So tell us about your time in Dubai here. So practically most of your life has been spent here. I imagine you've seen a lot of change. You've been in real estate with us for how long now?
6 years.
Any reason why it took you a little bit longer to make the jump?
Well, when I first came over here, like nearly 20 years ago, my first job was real estate.
Okay.
So I was selling on one of those 3x3 stands in Mall of Emirates, and basically using brochures from developers, and people were coming up and buying off a piece of paper. So that was like my first experience selling the towers behind us, basically, because none of them were built. But then getting back into real estate this time, I had a good job, I enjoyed my job, but then found out I was having twins. Pictured myself 5 years later when the kids are going to be going to school, and it just wasn't making enough money. So kind of was forced into taking a bit of a gamble, getting back into real estate.
Yeah.
So far it's paid off, it's been good since then. So.
Tell us about some of the areas you do right now, because Dubai's a big place, right? So many different places, and when people have this idea of Dubai, it's normally, Burj Al Arab, it's the beach, the marina. Tell us about some of the places that you focus selling on in Dubai and some of the differences. If you just could go around what areas you sell.
So I sell in Jumeirah Park, which is an area close to the springs, meadows, Jumeirah Island. Really, really cool community. 3, 4, 5 bedroom villas, custom built villas, and also a bit in the springs as well.
And in terms of pounds or dollars, what would someone get for a 3 or 4 bedroom villa? Normal size. What would you get?
So if you're looking at like a 3-bedroom property in Jumeirah Park right now,
you're
looking somewhere in the region of around £2.5 million. And it can go all the way up to £5-6 million.
Okay. And why do people buy that?
Couple of reasons, to be honest with you, Carl. One, I don't think there's many places in Dubai right now that you're going to get plot sizes in built up areas the size of Jumeirah Park.
Yeah.
2, the location, close to Sheikh Zayed, close to Marina. And then you've got all of the facilities, like you've got the schools, you've got the shops, and also it's just a really nice community if you're a family.
Yeah.
Nice people live there, Ryan.
Yeah.
lives there.
Oh yeah, Ryan lives there.
Not yet, next week. It'll go downhill then.
Jack, you sell where?
In the Springs, predominantly. Do the whole of Emirates, live in the same as Sachin, but predominantly I've always sold it in the Springs.
So what sort of properties are in the Springs? What do you buy there?
Range from 2-bed small townhouses up to 3-bed larger townhouses.
Yeah.
Caters for everyone really, and I think the reason it's such a transacted area is because probably the closest villa community to the marina, where people can get a garden, live in a villa. Starting prices are around 3 million now for a 2-bed.
Is that pounds, dirhams?
No, that's dirhams. Yeah.
Dirhams. So we're talking
£600,000 pounds.
£600,000. You could live 10 minutes away from a beach in a villa.
In a townhouse with a garden.
Is that right?
Yeah, bit of an older community, but obviously due to the location, I mean that kind of sells itself really. Most times it's location over anything. So.
What sort of people buy in that area?
Small families to start with, predominantly. There's not too many investors in the Springs really. A lot of people are buying in there to renovate and sell on at the moment because that's kind of where the market's gone. But predominantly people that live there are families. You know, in a 2-bed, you've got like a husband and wife that are just starting out, and then when they have kids, they normally move up to the 3-beds. So.
You've been doing ice baths for 2 years, every day.
Yeah. Funny you say that. I've just had one before I came in.
One, like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Because I hate the cold in general. Why do you do that?
For mental clarity for me. Same reason I go to the gym every single day. Like, I haven't missed the gym day for, I can't even tell you when. So that's for me, is not to look good. It's for the mental side of things.
Yeah.
I think with this job, like, you can really struggle. I've got 2 kids as well. So like the stresses of life are real.
Yeah, of course.
And with this job, I'm 24/7, obviously, what we, like everyone knows. So I just think it's very important to focus on the mindset as well. So yeah.
You're the most vain person I know. The gym's
I just had a haircut.
He's the only person I've seen look in the mirror for the whole hour. Just like,
Yeah.
He's doing it with his phone cover, right?
Emma, tell us about where you've been selling the last 12 months.
So I'm in Dubai Hills.
Yep.
There's actually quite a lot of similarities between Springs and Dubai Hills, certainly the villa
There's a
area.
competition going on here.
A little bit. But Dubai Hills, you have apartments, then you have villas, then you have multi-million dirham villas. So there's a real range available for people. We tend to see like young professionals, young families in the apartment areas, and then more families for the villas.
Yeah.
But there's just so much there. It's quite green. You've got the park, and then of course you've got Dubai Hills Mall, so that attracts a lot.
Why do people choose it? I think I know why, but why do you think people choose to live there?
I think because it's really well located. It's really nice for families. Like, it's a lovely environment. It's almost like its own little city in itself. And there's just a lot on offer.
Yeah. Lots of schools nearby and stuff like
Lots of schools, yeah. We've got the schools there, also a hospital there. You've got the golf course there. There's just loads of facilities.
that. Amazing. Where does fitness lie with you in linking it to the job? Is it something that's important to you, or
Yeah,
not so much?
very much so. I think coming from my previous background, it's always been part of my daily life. I find it hard to kind of fit in and around the job because it used to be part of my job, so I didn't have to think about it on top of my day-to-day things. But I'll always go to the gym in the morning. I'm really enjoying running at the minute, and I do have the Burj to Burj next week,
So
2 days after our annual awards.
So how many kilometres is that?
That is 21 and a bit.
Wow.
kilometres, So
At 2 days after what might be an intoxicating evening. I hope someone's got a
Wish
drip
me
near
luck.
for you the other side. Good. Ryan, so you've probably been in one area, but now you're a bit of everywhere. Tell us about what you've been doing, mate.
So working in the private office, anything over 25 million, predominantly do around this area, Palm Jumeirah, like Emirates, around this area. I don't really venture out a bit further out than that, but yeah, for the last 9 years, I was still doing this area, but the lower end stuff. But still big for you.
What's the biggest difference for you dealing in a transaction area like Dubai Marina, where it's lots of volume, but ranges for 1 million dirhams up to 5, 6, 7 million dirhams, to now dealing with buyers anywhere from 25 million dirhams up to hundreds of millions of dirhams? What's the biggest difference?
Probably the most obvious one is when you're selling people 5 to 10 million properties, dirhams wise, most of the time they have genuinely got that money. Whereas when you're doing 25 to 100 million dirham villas, how can you tell that they've got 25 to 100 million dirhams in the bank account to be able to buy one?
Yeah.
That's probably the biggest difference. That's probably the biggest struggle, is like making sure like tire kit and whatever, if it's serious enough and so on.
So there's more mystery at the upper end of the market.
Definitely.
And do you think that's down to the sort of people you deal with, are a little bit more private, a little bit more reserved?
Yeah, it could be. Like, listen, I've done deals before where I've gone, do you know what, absolutely not. And then the next day they made an offer and they give you a check and I've gone, wow, expect that to happen. So they expect them to have the funds or whatever. So you can't really take it on face value, but it's a lot harder to qualify them.
And in terms of like the biggest challenge you've had going into that end of the market and biggest difference, what's it been apart from figuring out whether someone's got the money or not?
Like,
is there lots of inventory at the end of the market?
Yeah, there's loads of property. I don't think I've struggled with anything like that. Like, in terms of getting stuff, but it doesn't matter who you are. You could be a partner or shop who's been involved in billions of dirham sales. If you get a seller on the phone, you get the phone put down on you.
Yeah.
No matter who you are.
Yeah.
That's probably what I get a lot more of, which I wasn't used to for the last 9 years.
Okay. What about fitness for you? Because obviously you got married, you lost a load of weight, you're fantastic. Like, where does fitness fit into your cycle these days? And is it important to you?
Yeah, I go to High Rocks and KO8 Monday, Wednesday, Friday. That's pretty much, I base everything around that.
Yeah.
To be honest with you. And then I'll go to the gym, do a bit of weights, and that's really about it for me. I don't really like do any sport, playing football or anything like that anymore. More just like High Rock training and stuff like that, fit training.
Speaking of football, you're a massive Everton fan, aren't you?
Fuck that.
Toffees.
Fuck that.
Ryan's a massive Everton fan. If you don't know, but
No way.
I just think Liverpool going to do this year.
We'll win the league, Champions League, FA Cup League. I'll take the whole of May off.
The worst,
You want
thing,
me to-
the worst thing about Liverpool supporters, you won't hear the end of it.
Oh,
for
yeah.
months and months.
If that happens, that's our ammo there for 10 years.
The worst winners and the worst losers. That's what I say.
Yeah, $1,000,000. Yeah, I'll take that.
Georgia, whereabouts are you focusing at the moment since you've been with us?
Dubai Marina. Yeah, it's
Rental sales.
rentals.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how have you found it from the sort of people you deal with? Because I always like in Marina to like one of that jumping off points when you first move here, perhaps a little bit younger, close to the beach. Is that right? Or
Yeah,
the mix?
so I think like the majority of clients that I've dealt with at the minute, it's been ranging from people that have lived there for a bit and they're looking for somewhere just like a new apartment, or people that have just moved here and then wanted their first apartment. So it's a bit of a mixed bag, but tends to be like not families really. I've not really met any people with kids yet.
Yeah. How do you deal with the challenge of the Marina? Because the biggest thing I hate about the Marina, I mean, it's a fantastic place to be and live, but traffic. What's the
Um,
obstacle? Where do you overcome that?
The way I overcome it really is the marina sells itself. People want to live there regardless of the traffic.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things that you just have to factor it in. If you want the views, the nice apartments, then yeah, the traffic's just something that you have to overlook really.
Where's the go-to in Marina? Where would you say like people like hanging out? Whether it's like JBR, beach, or where do you think people do?
For the most part, the people that I've worked with, they want to go and live there because of JVR. They're into the fitness, so they like to go running around the marina. They like somewhere they can walk.
Yeah.
Yeah, me personally, JVR, I like to spend a lot of time down there on the beach.
Good. Russ, tell us about where you sell and rent mostly.
I've only really focused ever on meadows. I mean, I've done bits here, there, and everywhere, cross-sell, but meadows for me has always been the patch that I started in and just carried on doing. Like what Jack said earlier, I think people are looking for location, and that's the biggest thing about the meadows. It's like the closest villa community to the likes of La Palm, Marina, those kind of places. So it's gone nuts in the last couple of years. People picking up these villas, extending them, renovating them, flipping them. But that's all been limited now, but that's still the area that I focus on.
What would you say to all of you now? What's the hardest part of being away from home to all of you? Because it's a sacrifice, right? Being here. I know obviously we are where we are, it's amazing, but the parts of home we miss, what's the hardest part for you all?
Parents, probably.
Yeah.
It's missing like core events,
Okay.
whether it's like birthdays, weddings,
Yeah.
whatever it may be.
So your time here, you've missed, whether it's weddings, families, funerals, unfortunately.
Yeah, I would say parents. So I always lived at home before I came out here, even when I was at uni, I stayed at home. So coming out here and actually having to do my own washing instead of my dad doing it, yeah, it's mad.
And out of interest, what do parents say to you when you move, or even since you've been here now? Is it, that they encourage you to come back? Is they proud of you? Like what sort of things?
Tell us
Stay, yeah.
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 Sure.
Yeah, which is
I think they can see what it has to offer for us.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think when I first came over, they were a little bit more skeptical. But then when they visited, they were like, absolutely, you've made the right decision.
What's some of the highest highs then in terms of the earning potential here at also or in Dubai real estate for that matter? What can you earn? Because you see so many I look online and I see all these recruiters. There's a lot of rubbish that goes out. And what can you actually earn in this job? Honestly speaking, and what are the lows? What's the lowest you can? Obviously, you can earn nothing, right? But what sort of earning potential can you have in the business?
You can earn nothing, but I can remember when I first spoke to Cam. Cam was like, "Look, don't expect to come in and make £100,000 in the first year, and you prove him wrong. Like you can do that."
Yeah. Yeah. Are you right? What do you think? Where's the limit in terms of what you can earn in this job?
I think there is a limit. Look at like the figures that get put on the board and what people have done every single year. I think there's a limit. You can just go higher and higher every single year, which most people do.
Do you think earning £1 million is possible with this job?
Yeah.
The longer you're in it?
Yeah, longevity, yeah, 100%.
Do you think longevity is linked to success and performance in the job?
Yeah,
think
I
that
think
it
so
helps?
because it's persistent, isn't it? And I think like you become immune to rejection, you become immune to like hard, like obviously like you've got a hard day's work and you've like you I don't know. I think it is. I think the longer you're here, the more successful you become.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing. Like when I used to go home to my wife, even though she worked for the company as well, so she understood the job a little bit. But I would go home in the first few years and be stressed out of my mind if the deal wouldn't go ahead. But now you kind of learn to deal with it, like Ryan said, and you learn to have more plates spinning. So if one falls off, you're working on something else. It's just different. Yeah, I mean, like it's just dealing with that stress, and that comes with longevity in the job, I think. So you learn how to deal with things more.
There's lots of younger people coming into the job. Obviously, we're getting older. There's younger people coming in, and do you feel when you're around other people that people want more instant success?
Yeah.
Like, so I look at you around here, and obviously, aside from you, Georgia, you've been here a long time, a year, 14 months, 8 years, 10 years, 6 years, a long time, and it doesn't happen overnight. Do you think people are becoming less and less patient?
I think in the last 4 years since COVID, because it has been an easier market.
Yeah.
And people have got on the end of deals a lot easier than they did for the first 5-6 years I was here.
Yeah.
So I think people are seeing like a lot of people do become successful a lot quicker. If that ever changes, then obviously there'll be a big challenge for them.
Yeah.
What do you think, man? What do you think? The people, do you think like 14 months, that you've done the hardest part already now?
Yeah.
The first year is the hardest by a million miles. I'm not saying it gets easier. But do you think people give up too quickly? Do you think they're not patient enough?
I do think so. I think when you come here, we have some really good training and they say, keep at it, keep at it. I think a lot of people actually keeping at it just becomes too much for them and they give up. And I do think that they come over and think they will get instant success. But I think if they see it as a longer term plan instead of a short term plan, you're more likely to succeed.
Why do people fail the most, Sachin?
Why do people fail the most? I think one, expectations. Like it's not going to happen overnight, like you said, and I think there's loads of different sides to that coin. One, people are getting a lot of stuff shown to them about like instant success, like people coming to Dubai and making like stupid amounts of money very quickly, which does happen in some cases in other industries. But then you look at people around you who are doing big numbers, and you've got to remember that all of that work has been compounding over the last 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years. So their overnight success is not actually overnight. And a lot of the challenges now for people, why they give up too early, I think it's just discipline, to be honest. I think coming out here to Dubai, there's so many distractions. You can go out partying every night. You can spend big money in restaurants. You can get distracted with, your mates. But I think Brian said it as well, like your first 12 months is just like super important. You just got to kind of keep your head down, forget about where you are and the distractions, and just know that, look, it's coming. It's coming. You just got to stick at it. It's coming.
Right, I don't think you realise this, and probably I'm saying that to Jack and Russ as well. I don't think you realise how like inspiring you are to other people in the business, like your journey and what you've achieved. But Ryan, for you, you've got multiples of properties. You earn a hell of a lot of money. You've done very, very, very well, and you are a multi-millionaire today from this job. When did you really start making big money?
Well, do you know what? I was just thinking about that then. So in my first year, I had a brilliant first year, and 4 people in this company have done more this month than I done my first full year. So it takes a while. Like I think the turning, like everything, like the first 2015 up to about 2019, every year was bigger and bigger and better and better. And it wasn't always like I was always at the top of the company, wasn't I? The top 3 or top 2, whatever. But after 2020, I think that's when people started to make life-changing money.
Do you think it's important for people to stay where they are? I don't mean like there's an ad for all stuff, but do you think there's legs in being consistent and staying in the same business rather than what is very apparent, not just in Dubai real estate, but around the world? People tend to job hop to try and see if the grass is greener. Do you think there's any legs in that?
I just think it depends on the person themselves, really, and what they want. I mean, some people change is good for, right?
Yeah.
I think when it comes to real estate, I think no matter what, wherever you go, it's the same job. You're going to be doing the same thing. You're going to be hitting the same phones. You're going to be doing the same viewings. It's just a blueprint. It's the same job no matter where you go. So I think real estate is probably a little bit different. I think in other walks of life with certain career paths, maybe you need to switch around because you need to progress, and maybe that you can't do that in a company. But I think within real estate, it's kind of, I mean, as Ryan knows, it's the same job no matter what you do. So,
You essentially just moving the problem if you're the problem. That makes sense.
yeah, that's what I mean. It's all on the person, I think, yourself. If you're driven enough, you can do the job anywhere. It's real estate at the end of the day. It's the same job.
Do you think there's an argument to say that along you with the same business, you've got built up, let's call it the word, I want to use the word equity, but equity in terms of the business where people know you, you've got contacts, they trust you, Obviously, you've got data that you've accumulated over the time. Do you think that's helpful?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think it's credibility as well.
Yeah.
Right? To say that you're at one place, so people know that you're not going to be jumping ship at any opportunity. But then again, like Jack said, it comes down to the individual.
What's the biggest thing, Emma, for a seller when you're dealing with? Why would they list with you specifically? And I appreciate, obviously, in this marketplace, sellers there's not massive urgency to list with one or two agencies because there are a lot of people fighting for the same listings. But what advice would you give to a seller?
So generally speaking, I would always say like go for someone that's specialist in that area. There are a lot of agencies and agents that don't necessarily specialize in one area. But if you have an agent that knows exactly about the area, all the ins and outs, dealt with clients and other sellers similar, then that's always a benefit. Also, to be part of a big company like Allsop and Allsop, one of the biggest and the best, that already gives us a bigger audience for then their property to be seen by people. So they're more likely to get competitive prices.
I always say as well, bigger team, bigger audience, bigger marketing spend means more eyeballs. Eyeballs means more inquiries means potentially either selling quicker or for more money. So anyone looking to sell their property at the minute, just listening to anyone and anyone, probably not really helpful to you. Do you think there's legs in listening with too many agencies? So let's say, for example, you've got 3 agents online, Russ, where one of your Meadows properties listed with 3 other agents, but offline it's listed with 9 others.
Yeah, I say this to sellers as well. Like, the more people you're putting it out there with, these buyers are seeing it listed with multiple agents. If they like the property, they're going to come around and they're probably going to offer you a lot less because they're thinking you're a bit desperate because it is listed so many times. So that's like your way of getting in there with exclusivity as well. Being able to prove what you've done in the area, how long you've done the area for, and that you specialise only there. See a lot of people jump areas because they see people doing deals over in a different area, but you're just diluting your presence in the area that you're trying to specialise in.
Yeah, it's like you're competing against yourself, right? If the same listings on, but the photographs look a little bit different, the prices may differ a little bit. Actually, it looks like from a buyer's perspective, there's more listings available than there actually really is.
Yeah.
So concentrate on that. And the big thing is actually having lots of different messaging. If you've got 10 different agents all telling you different information, sometimes it can be a bit confusing, right? To know what the right thing to do is. What about this year then? So what does 2025 look like for all of you? What does success look like? I'm massive in goals and goal setting, and actually I've changed my way of thinking a little bit over the last few years, where I tend to look in like 3-month tranches now. Every 3 months to trying to see where I've got to, whether it's personal or business. What does 2025 look like for you, in terms of what does a good year look like?
So I only quite recently moved to sales. So for me, I'd really like to solidify sales in the area of Dubai Hills.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'd like to make as much money as possible, but like a realistic target, I'd really like to meet target for the year and just find my feet like securely to then to go on after that. Yeah.
Okay. Good. Really good. So 1.25 million this year. You go.
Yeah. Say that.
300,000 by the end of the first quarter. Jack, what about you? What does this year look like, 2025, work and personal? Any good things that you want to strive towards? Again, a lot of people watching you, mate.
Yeah. Mine isn't monetary value, to be honest. This year, my focus is the kids. I want to make sure that they continue to do well in school, and, family is a big thing for me this year.
Being more present.
Yeah. I think I've learned to delegate a lot in the job, which has helped, and it's helped other people that are starting as well. So that is a big thing for me. I used to want to be in control of everything, but I do realise now, like, the more you actually delegate, you realise people can still do it for you, and it frees up your time as well to spend a bit more with the family. One of my biggest goals this year, I want to learn to speak Arabic. I've seen some guy that works at a company in London, and he switches from speaking Arabic to English during his videos, and I think the amount of respect you get, and I think that's fantastic. So that's my biggest goal this year.
I walked through an airport 3 years ago, coming back, and the guy, local asked me, how long you been here? I said 14, 15, 13 years, where it might have been at the time. He said, you don't speak Arabic, you've been here that long? And I never felt so awkward, embarrassed, and actually very ignorant. Us as English people, we should make more of an effort to kind of learn the dialects. It's very, very tough, but there's an app called Duolingo that you can try.
We'll do a podcast next year. We'll speak Arabic to each other.
We'll do it. Actually, what does this year look like, mate? What's good look like for you? What's amazing look like?
Work or personal?
Both.
Both. I think work-wise, I want to be that guy. I want to be that guy in my area that everybody knows my name and my face. And if they're looking to list their property or if they're looking to purchase a property, you know, my number is the one that they're going to call. That's what I want from work. Obviously, in terms of monetary value, I want to surpass what I've done last year. And from a personal standpoint, two things. One, I want to really try and get myself onto the property ladder this year in Dubai. I mean, we're surrounded by property all the time, so why shouldn't I get a piece of the pie as well? And another personal, similar to Jack actually, like I'm trying to learn Hindi because I think in my area and you know some of the sellers and buyers that I deal with, coming from my background, it's very important to me to be able to speak the language as well. And then travel. I want to travel. I want to see the UAE. I want to see different parts of the region that I haven't seen before. Just get out there and just enjoy this year a little bit more because last year was very much focused on like head down, don't do anything. But yeah, I think now I just want to get out there a little bit more.
Amazing. Right?
My goal is always to do better than I did last year or the best year I've ever done. But really, this year is just more about health and staying fit and family and happiness and being a bit more content.
Yeah.
Be a bit more content. I don't think I've really been that content in about 8-9 years. I want to try and be in the moment a little bit more.
It's my biggest weakness, you know. I always think about what's next.
Yeah,
And that's many people tell me you don't live in the moment because I'm always what's next. And like you do realise sometimes that being happier and sometimes smelling the roses a little bit can actually make you better at what you do.
Because you sit on holiday and you're thinking about what you're going to do when you come back from holiday, rather than enjoying holiday.
Still about it now. So at the beach, the Maldives, and I'm thinking,
It's annoying, isn't
not
it? But
good.
it's just
It's a job, unfortunately.
annoying, yeah. That's what I want to try. That's my goal, to be more content.
Very good, very good. What are you, George? What's this year look like?
Obviously still quite new, so I want to just get settled in, obviously make this place my home. I would like to make sure that I hit senior in lettings, and then hopefully so I can progress on to sales. But yeah, just keep going, keep my head down and make sure that I can stay here.
Sales by the end of the year.
Yeah. Yeah.
Russ?
My target's always the same at the start of the year. I've got my overheads for the year. I need to surpass that so I know that everything's paid for already, and then set myself new targets afterwards. Would always like to do my best year financially, but yeah, I'm trying to take it like day by day.
Yeah.
Like what you just said then, I overthink too many things. Even when a deal is signed, I'm spending so much time worrying about that deal. Is it going to transfer and what I can do in the middle? But I just want to chill out a bit, just be less stressed this year.
Yeah.
Russ, I think we're the most chilled person.
Oh, yeah.
Right, guys. 2 last questions. Quick 5 questions for me. All of you. So, what was the biggest regret or the biggest thing that you thought, I wish I'd done that or changed that sooner? And what's the best thing that's happened to you since you've been in Dubai? It could be work, personal, anything. Thatch.
Biggest regret. I wish I came here earlier, to be honest with you. What was the other one?
And what's the highlight?
The highlight. I mean, changing my life, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Coming here, taking an opportunity, taking that leap of faith. And thinking, it was probably never going to work, but then it did. So,
is there anything you would do differently, though? You said a regret. Is there anything you do differently between when you started in 14 months in?
Just to try and enjoy it more.
Okay.
Yeah, just try and, because like when you're in it, you can't really see what's happening, but just taking like a bit of a bird's eye view and just having checkpoints and saying, all right, well, you've accomplished that. That's good, pat on the shoulder, and then carry on.
Yeah. Progress isn't a straight line.
Sorry?
It's like that, isn't it, right?
Yeah,
Progress.
100%.
Jack, anything you do differently? It's 8 years, a lot of mistakes, I'd imagine. Everyone makes mistakes, and actually mistakes are linked to progress and success. Anything you do differently, and what's the best thing that's happening?
Yeah, I think the only thing I would have done differently, similar to Sachin, really, was to come out here the first time Lewis told me to come out here 5 years previous.
Yeah.
Because this is my whole family's home now. I'd never see myself leaving this place. So yeah, I regret that a little bit, but I don't regret too many things. I don't like to live in the past too much.
Yeah.
I like to look like you live
Would
for
you
the
do
future.
differently? Would you do something different in the job though to get you to where you are now? You've been hugely successful. Would you do anything different?
No. I don't think so, because I mean, yeah, there has been mistakes along the way, but I think if you don't learn from your mistakes, then you don't become who you are today. So without mistakes, I think builds character.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I definitely wouldn't change anything. No.
What's the highlight been in 8 years of being here?
Got married here, had my 2 kids here, and was able to pay my mum and dad's mortgage off. That's probably one of the biggest things.
Unbelievable.
So, yeah.
Absolutely unbelievable. So regrets, anything, or you look back and think, I wish I'd done that differently, and highlight.
I think, again, same as these guys, to have come here sooner. I wish I'd come here a bit sooner.
Yeah.
I do
Pop that
different.
answer, by the way.
I know. It is.
Such
It is
a-
true. I think to not worry as much. Like I was really nervous about giving everything up back in the UK and coming here.
Yeah.
And was it going to work out? And I think it caused me a lot of stress. But
Is that
actually,
perception of the job, or a new country, or sales environment?
both. I think going to a job that's commission only, like in a country I'd never visited before, all of it really. And I think to have just maybe not stressed out as much, because it is fine.
It is mad though, the amount of people that join real estate that have never, ever been to Dubai. I mean, it's less and less now, more and more people come on holiday, but the amount of people take the leap of faith to come here and never been here before is wild. What's your highlight been?
I think my highlight was when my family came out for the first time, and for them to see me in this environment and see me so happy. I think that was a highlight for me. To be like,
Yes, they
I've done
felt
the right-
like, yeah, she's in the right place.
yeah, that was
Amazing.
my highlight.
Amazing. Ryan, what's your one thing you think, I wish I'd done that bit differently, and what's your highlight?
You know what? I think I wish I'd took more risks younger. Like I took loads of risks property wise and stuff like that, like the last 5-6 years. But I wish when I was like 21, trying to say to people now who are younger as well, just take the risk because it will pay. Like you'll be absolutely fine. I wish I took a few more risks a little bit younger.
Risk in terms of what, investing?
Yeah, just invest in property, invest in everything really. I wish I took a few more risks a little bit when I had the money, when I was a little bit younger.
Yeah.
I wish I'd done that. That's one thing I think about a few times. Highlight. Yeah, got married. That was my biggest highlight I've had, yeah.
Amazing.
Amazing, yeah.
Amazing.
Highlight. So I would say just the people that I've met since I've been out here. Like some of the people in my startup groups, amazing people, and I know that they will be like my best friends for life. So yeah, it's been great so far.
And what about one thing in the 4 or 5 months you think, oh, I wish I'd done that a bit different, or that was a bit...
I think I need to stop stressing so much and being so hard on myself. I think, like, Rob, my manager, you can speak to him. Like, the first couple of months, I was like, what am I doing? Am I doing the wrong thing? Am I doing the right thing? And he kept saying, like, stick with it, Georgia. It'll all start making sense. And now I just look back at the first couple of months and I was like, what am I doing? And now it all just is clicking into place. It's all starting to make a bit more sense. So I'd say just stop being so hard on myself. It will all pay off.
Highlight?
Yeah, just the friends that I've met out here from when I first started.
Russ?
Highlight is my kids being born in Dubai, being raised here. Like,
Yeah.
I can't actually think of a better place in the world to
Yeah.
bring kids in. The plan was always to go back to the UK and bring them up there, but every time I go back there in the summer, it's great being there, but I could never
Live
allow
there.
them to go to the park by themselves here. There's just so much for them to do here, so yeah, the highlight is being able to have the kids and bring them.
One thing you change aside from doing it earlier?
My tattoos.
Show us, Russ. Show us a
Yeah.
Come on.
Get one out.
You get your camera, show us your tattoo.
I'll tell you what we should do, because I think your tribal is the yours
Tribal wars is going.
yours is the only one I could say is probably worse than mine, so we should probably do a poll.
Let's do a poll. Let's do a poll, yeah.
What other people
What's your biggest regret, Carl?
Huh?
What's your biggest regret?
Got one here and one here. Guys, but very quick before we finish it, one last question, funny question. Tell me one funny story that's happened in your job since you've been here that you think, oh, that's like something's happened in your job that you think, oh, it's funny or it's awkward or something like that.
I don't even think.
I'll tell you one of mine quickly. So, estate agent, at 17 years old, started driving 4 months into the job. I parked my car on the driveway, went to do a viewing, semi-detached bungalow, brilliant view, went really well. I said bye to the people, rushing, typically late for our next appointment. I drove off the drive really quickly, reversed, and knocked the whole front wall down at the front of the house. I got out of the car, the people walking to the car still are like, oh my God, what's happened here? And the owners have been away for the property, and I've had to call the owners up to say, I'm really sorry, but your whole front wall of the house, it's all been knocked down. So it wasn't a great start.
I've pissed myself in the rental car before
You-
when I first moved. Yeah, no, I was busting for the toilet. When we was in Vision Towers at the traffic lights,
Yeah.
and you know what they're like there. And I needed it so bad. I'd come back from Green Community from a rental viewing when I first started, and I needed it so bad. So there was a bottle, and it was only a small one. So I unzipped my trousers, started weeing into the bottle. Obviously, got to the top of the bottle. I just had to let go, all over the car. I had a light grey suit on. So do you remember the fountains out the front of Vision Tower where Green Parking was? I got out and walked straight through the fountains and then walked up to the office and said, "You wouldn't believe what just happened to me. I was on my phone and I didn't see the fountains and I walked straight through them." So
They smell lovely.
went up, showed myself wet, and then asked for permission if I could go home and get changed.
Oh,
had to change the rental car. So
Right, 10 years in the job. You must have
So
something
what?
funny.
I'm trying to really think. I remember when I was in rentals once, I think I was viewing in the Greens. This fella turned up in a three-piece suit and stuff and showed around the property, and he went and had a look at the gym and just went about, treadmill in there, and he just put the treadmill on like 10 and started sprinting on it. And he started sprinting on it, and like I said, the suit saying, I'm just testing it out, and I was like, wow, what's going on? Didn't show the pool, obviously, because I thought it was jumping. But that's about it. I can't really think of that many funny things. You know, yeah.
I've walked into one in bed before. In bed.
I've done that actually, yeah. Done that.
Yeah.
Guys, thank you so much for joining us, taking care of business. So next week, the award season, enjoy it, smell the roses, and we'll have a lot of fun next week. Thank you for joining us, taking care of business. It's a great day and a great year.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Guys.